Hey all, it's Jan of the Jan Files. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me on YouTube, where I hope you subscribed, or on Substack, or both. I appreciate the support. So today I'm going to talk about the passing of Lindsey Graham. As usual, my take on this is maybe a little different than a lot of people's, because I have no problem with showing disrespect for Lindsey Graham, whatever the fuck that means. Because as far as I'm concerned, I didn't have any respect for Lindsey Graham. Who he once was, way back when he was a maverick and was working with John McCain and was more bipartisan, is not the man who just passed away. He completely lost any moral core when Donald Trump came along, especially since he first called him out. And yes, I will remind us all of that quote that he made in 2015, well, what he said in 2015, called Donald Trump a race-baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot. Yes, that was Lindsey Graham talking about Donald Trump. But in 2018, when he had already pretty much stuck his head up his ass, he claimed that he had never heard the president make a single racist statement. You know what? That's such a bullshit lie. All you have to do, let's just start with Central Park 5, where he called for their deaths after they were found not guilty because of DNA evidence and somebody else actually committed that horrific crime. I remember that. I was living in New York City at the time. And Donald Trump has had a long history of racism. So for Graham to say that is just one example of how he had no relationship to the truth. And as far as I'm concerned, when I see these Democrats, like Clyburn, which I'm really upset about, but also Amy Klobuchar, Dick Durbin, and what's the other dude's name? Chris Coons, have all basically made references to Lindsey's contributions to the Senate and how he was a good colleague. This, in a nutshell, is what pisses me off more than anything else out of the Democratic Party and from the institution of the Senate. Because they act as if they are these special fucking human beings, right? That they have this collaborative atmosphere. Well, even though they might tussle on certain policies, that at the end of the day, they accord each other a respect that has nothing to do with their character, has nothing to do whether the colleague lies and is racist or misogynistic or xenophobic. They don't care, because at the bottom line, they all are part of this big group of people who are entitled to a whole different way to deal with some of these issues. And what I mean by that is that I don't respect anybody. I have no respect for anyone who has supported Donald Trump. Whether it was back starting in 2016 or it's recent, it doesn't matter. If you support Donald Trump, you are a racist. You are a homophobe. You are misogynistic. You don't give a shit about the truth. You don't give a shit about our laws. You don't give a shit about the Constitution. That is all gone, folks. So when I see that mostly white, although James Clyburn, whatever, he called him out for he didn't know who he was when he changed, only to say, let me just give you an example, because this isn't about race. It's about entitlement, right? This is about being entitled because you're part of the, it's not really the process that I'm looking for. You're part of this special group, whether you're in the House of Representatives or whether you're in the Senate. But if you're there for a while, you're part of this special group, right? Where you get to behave and say different things just because what? You don't want to look like you're a terrible human being? No, how about you look like a good human being and hold people accountable? Because this is what this is about. They did not hold him accountable, and they're not now. And I don't give a shit about talking about disrespecting the dead. Lindsey Graham is gone, okay? He is gone. It doesn't matter to him. What you're talking about is maybe it's mattering to family. I don't care. I'm not celebrating and jumping up and down. I did say my first response to my siblings was one down. And I admit that because these are the people who have been terrorizing us. Lindsey Graham and the Republican Party has thrown away any moral clarity that they once might have had. They now are becoming sick. They have become sycophants. They are parasitic. They do have any relationship to the truth or to what it is our democracy. And so for somebody to say, well, let's not disrespect, bullshit. People are dying in our streets, literally. And you want me or other people to celebrate Lindsey Graham? Fuck you. I'm done. And I'm done with the Dick Durbins and the Chris Coons and the Amy Klobuchar. And I know some of those are retiring. Thank you. You need to go. And the whole problem with the reason we find ourselves here is because of the lack of accountability. Donald Trump has not paid for his crimes. The courts have failed us. Although some of them are standing up, the Supreme Court has failed us. And Lindsey Graham supported Mitch McConnell's trying to pack the court with conservatives, which was done. So Lindsey Graham was a part of it all. He made that choice. I make my choice. I don't have any respect for that. I did not have any respect for that man at all. And I would say differently about John McCain, although he still had issues. He had, in my belief, a moral core. I disagree with him on a lot of different things, but he had a moral core. This man did not. And whatever moral core he once had, he was either, we'll find out in the days to come whether he was blackmailed, but it doesn't matter because he could have extricated himself from that. So anyway, I have written a more extensive piece that is on Substack. You can subscribe to my Substack. It is free. And if you want to read the piece, you should check it out there. But please, I don't want to hear this shit anymore about, oh, you're so disrespectful. So what? That's what's important to you when people on the streets are dying, when women are dying for lack of abortion? That's what's important? Not in my book. It's not the way I was raised, and it's not the way I'm raising my children. So, you know what? Screw you. I don't mean you. You know what I mean. So, anyway, I hope that you will follow me. I hope that you will read the piece I wrote. It gives a lot more background to what I'm saying. Thank you. Stay tuned because I absolutely will have more to talk about regarding the Epstein files. Take care.